A warm welcome back to Stone Valley for episode 4 with me, MrSealyp. As you have just seen, I just finished a cultivating job. Wow, that took a while. Pretty much everything's cultivating, but then I did something really stupid. And I saw a number and I thought, oh, wow, and I took on a sowing contract for soybean on field 10, the field I just finished cultivating. So I bought a cultivator. This is the Case IH490, I think it is. Yeah. Fairly cheap, 10 metres wide, I think it's 10. Yeah, really nice, but obviously on the fields I'm on, it's a starter cultivator. I need to build up to something way, way bigger for the sort of fields I'm working on. Anyway, that all being said, if you notice the money in the top right hand corner, I also made a couple of impulse purchases. I'm not regretting them, but I am looking at the finances now thinking, what should I do? Now, I am going to sell the flatbed, the pickup, because we've got the semi now. So we've got the semi, that can fulfill those roles as well. If at some point later down the line we've got a bit more money knocking about, I may well buy it back kind of thing. But for the time being, we're probably not going to be using it, and I could probably do with the money. So, the other thing we've got is this, the Vaderstat FH19 front tank. That'll do seed and fertiliser. So for seeding, to increase my capacity, I don't need another seed tank. I can just unload that one and we can use that. That's all good. So let's drive the pickup up to the store and let's see what I bought. It's probably going to be quite obvious that the objects I've bought, not necessarily the particular ones. I was in a bit of a dilemma, and I'll be honest, that dilemma was a bit kind of, I didn't want to jump up the range of vehicles too quickly. One, because it was too expensive, and two, because it's about that progression, you know, it's about that semi-start from scratch. I mean, I didn't start with 0, you know, but not far off. We've put quite a few hours on this already, so I didn't want to just suddenly jump forward. But that being said, I didn't then want to just go kind of one increment up and it be like, well, you know, this is the best I can do at the moment kind of thing. You'll see what I mean when I get there. Thank you for everyone's comments of recent times. People seem to be enjoying the Stone Valley Let's Play. I'm enjoying playing on it. Like I said, I'm sticking a load of hours on this off camera because of the size of fields and because at the moment we are all using machinery and we are in the very early stages of running this farm. When we get to a point where we've got massive machinery, 2 or 3 big harvesters running, we'll be able to knock out these fields at quite a rate and it won't be as bad. But for the time being, yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. So we want to go to inside the workshop. I haven't actually been in since we had our initial tour around the facility. Yeah, there is. Don't get me wrong, this is a very, very good flatbed. I like it, and we, like I said, we may well get one back again. But for the time being, we are going to sell it. Oh, is that what we're going to get for it? Okay. We'll sell it anyway. Let's close that down. Let's have a little... Can we see it down there? No. What am I doing? I don't know why I do this every time. Because now I'm thinking, yeah, but my thumbnail is going to show it anyway, so... Oh. So, here's the thing. And I will explain my reasoning behind it. I don't always, and I don't feel I need to justify what I'm doing, but just because people like to know, you know, how my mind works. Scary environment that it may be. So we have got... Oh... Case Puma 240 CVX. I went for this particular model because this one can be chip tuned up to 300 horsepower, which was round about where I wanted to be. Now this came from the store with dual narrows. Again, I like the look of that. I generally speaking go for wides whenever I get something wide and weights, but I like the look of it. It's a nice machine. I think I had one of these on Washoe with tracks, if I recall correctly. So it's a step up from the case we've got. I say a step up, in addition to. We're not replacing it. So we're going to crack on with that in a little while. My other options, and I'll show you what I meant. What am I doing? Here. Under medium tractors was the 7200 Pro series, and I did look at that. And if you're looking at doing a cheaper alternative and being up around that 300 horsepower mark, that's a good way to go. And there's a couple of modded ones of those too, because that one will go up to 261, I think it is, yeah, 261 horsepower. That takes you up to 143 grand, which for a 261 horsepower tractor, finish my entire sentence, is pretty good. And like I say, there are a few other manufacturers of those knocking about. The Puma, generally speaking, only goes up to 200, and I think the standard unchipped version goes up to 270. So I've managed to eke another, 30 horsepower out of that by getting the specially tuned version. That's been specially tuned by a local engineer by the name of Jens Edvinsson. Very, very good with locally with case tractors, so he's done the chip tuning. Now, the planter seeder. Planter/seeder. This is a very nice one to use because it fulfills multiple roles, and with the money we've got at the moment, I wanted to get the biggest thing I could without having to duplicate machinery. Again, this is one of those like it or loathe it type situations, in that this is the Great Plains YP4025, which is again made by a local engineer, and it's this will. It's probably just to show you again. Let's go to tools. We'll go to. I know again I'm preaching to the converted. People already know about this. That's fine. If you're new to the game, a lot of people ask me questions and say, look, and they like the fact I explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and it helps people out if they're not sure what equipment to use and why I'm using particular things. Why have I picked that over 20 other planters or seeders that are in the mod hub? And I'll explain why. Everyone knows you've got planters or seeders. Your seeders will do your cereal crop type, that kind of thing. Your planters will do your corn, your sunflower, soybean, cotton, and sugar beet. The only crop that crosses over, generally speaking, on those two is soybean. Seeders and planters will do soybean. But that does mean if you're going to do a range of crops, you need to have a seeder and a planter to cover all of the crop types. So you've got the YP2425A, which is a 280 horsepower requirement, 142 grand, 18.2 metres. Now that's interesting. I don't remember that doing all crop types before. Maybe it did. Maybe it has always done. Anyway, so that will do all crop types. Now, there's this one, which is slightly smaller. This only requires 250 horsepower as opposed to 280. It's only a little bit down. 12 metre rather than 18.2. But the price is 40 grand cheaper. Plus, this one also is a direct drill. So not only will it do all crop types, so you don't need a seeder and a planter, I was going to get the monopile, the Caverna monopile e-drive, because I wanted to give it a go. It's also 12 metres. That only does your standard planter crops, and it's not a direct drill, which would mean I would have to cultivate an entire field before using it, whereas that, the YP4025A will do all of it. So it's kind of a jack of all trades type planter seeder combo situation. Now, because I took on a sowing contract, which was a bit daft, I thought to maximise my profit on that rather than borrow equipment, would use our own. So it's another reason why I wanted to get a setup like this. This tractor should pull it no problem at all, which is wonderful. And we also need to seed and plant our own fields. I've decided after the alfalfa testing that we are going to also plant grass. I'm not planting alfalfa. In field 8 I'm planting grass. That's just what I'm going to do. Now as far as seed goes, and again we're back to that same old prices. There are various different places you can buy your seed from. 1,000 litres for 900. That's kind of the set standard. If you go for the big bags, you're getting 2,000 litres for 1,800, which is just double. You're not gaining very much by doing that. There are various different silos and places you can buy them. There are pallet versions. The seed pallet there, 2,100 litres for 1,890, which is a little bit better. But there are so many options. So you don't really gain very much. There is a clever way of... It's incredibly dodgy. I'm not going to show it because I know how people get so bent out of shape over cheating, and so I'm not going to even... I've done it before, I'm not going to show it again. But there is a way around it to get really cheap seed. Of course there is... Oh no, can't come in. I'm just going to bite the bullet. There's no kind of quick and easy way around this. I think probably the best bet at the moment, without going to whatchamacallit, like a refill point, I'm going to go down this route. We'll grab a couple of... will 2 be enough? No. 3. Right, I'm going to get 4, just to start us off. We're going to need it, and yes, it eats into our finances, but at the end of the day, especially with that sowing contract, we'll make that money back. We'll absolutely make that money back. I'm not going to put fertiliser in because I've already fertilised the fields once. Field 8 has been fertilised twice because I fertilised it after harvest. I ploughed it, then fertilised it again, so I'm good to go on that one. I didn't bring the front tank up with me. I'll start off with what I got, 2,900 litres, and then what I'll do is grab the front tank, bring that up, and that will give us another 2,200 litres capacity. So anyway, we're on to seeding now. There's all the jobs at the moment that are available locally are all cultivating or sowing jobs. Now the question is, do I get straight on with... I'm going to do our field first. I'll do our field first. Now I could have leased this and I could have just worked my way up to whatever, and I could be doing that all the time. I could be leasing machinery constantly, but again I'm not going to. We had the money. I've still got 131 grand in the bank. It's not like I'm not skint. I'm absolutely fine. I love this tractor. I really like this tractor. It looks lush. So did I just say that out loud? Never mind. I'm sure I won't be judged too harshly. So crops grown locally, corn, soybean, those kind of things. First crop going in is going to be soybean. Second crop after that I will do corn, because I want to do a big corn harvest, and not necessarily for silage. I might well do a big silage harvest, but I think what we'll do for the time being is corn. I'm thinking for doing a harvest to do at the biogas plant, I'm seriously considering doing a potato harvest. I know, crazy isn't it? Right, I need to change crop types. Now without going into the menu, I've got my side panel, my Logitech side panel plugged in, so I can just press a button and go across till I get to soybean. Start it up, drop it down. Like I say, because it's a direct drill as well, I haven't got to worry about cultivating the field first. I can just crack straight on with that, which is nice. Now, unless it actually does say your field needs ploughing to get that ploughed bonus, now you might have all that turned off again. That's entirely up to you, but I'm not. To restrict that way. Should I do one going back the other way? Yeah, just need to give myself enough turning room at the headlands. Just means you know, up onto the road. So we're all doing good, yeah. Carl and Sean will probably help out a little bit at some point with doing these. You know, it'd be nice at some point, again, moving forward, and I want to, that's kind of all these ideas in my head of where I want to be at, where do I want to get to with this, is it'd be nice to have two. Maybe have the larger one as well, I don't know, so that when we do get into a situation where we've got multiple fields and they're all big, we can have multiple seeding, planting going on at the same time, and really extend out what we're able to do. Or I can do my own field while picking up the contract like we've got on the other field, you know, which could be an option. Again, we need multiple tractors to be able to do that as well, with the capability of pulling larger vehicles, so larger implements. We will get there. Let's drop it down. And away we go. I'm under no illusions, it's going to take a bit of time. So like I say, this has had one fertilising state already. Once the field has been seeded, planted because it is soybean, but planted, we'll get back over this and we'll fertilise it again. I've got the equipment for doing it, so we won't have too much of a problem there. I've still got some fertiliser left up at the store which I need to go and collect. And the funny thing is, on certain maps, you know, certain areas I have farmed, in inverted commas, a 12-metre seeder is not to be sniffed at. You know, you start off with a 3 or a 6, and then you might, you know, be brave enough to go for a 9-metre, and you get up to 12s and 18s, like, oh wow, you know, this 12-metre planter looks just tiny. I mean, ridiculously tiny. But it is what it is. Is it just me or do those double narrows look really cool? Let's put in this planter, no problem at all. I mean, it's not particularly hilly, is it, to be honest, but we're doing alright. And we are constantly moving forward, you know. Buying a new silo, getting that put in, a new tractor, a new seeder. We bought the semi, you know. We are moving forward. And what I'm going to do this time is missed the corner. Ah! Well, that wasn't good. Just drop that down past that corner. Now, generally speaking, again, the beauty with the seeder and planter over fertiliser spreaders, when you turn a fertiliser spreader on or a sprayer, once that's on, that's spraying, and you'll notice your products going down constantly. With the seeder or planter, it's almost like it's got automatic row shut-offs, and that's what I love about them, is that if you've already planted or seeded a bit and you swing around and you drop it down too early, or you go over a bit you have already planted or seeded, it's not taking anything out of the tank, because it's like it's almost registering, well, you've already done this bit, we don't need to use anymore. So if you do go over bits or you overlap, you're not wasting anything, which I honestly would like to see on the fertiliser sprayers and spreaders, is that kind of row shut-off system, the same system. So if you are going over a bit you've already done, it either reduces the amount you're putting down or it doesn't put any down at all, because, you know, whilst the machine is still operating, you're not losing any product because it registers you've already done it. I've never understood, if you can do it for seed, why can't it do it for the fertiliser and liquid fertiliser and herbicide, or, you know, anything you're putting down really. Now that sowing contract, again, I've been doing other jobs and on my kind of daily routine when I'm doing various different things, and I have to do my admin and paperwork and, you know, farmers have to do it. You've still got paperwork and admin you've got to do. You can't just neglect everything. Actually, I was thinking about the way, wasn't it? Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll set a worker off, and while I go and deal with some admin and paperwork and correspondence, I'll let my worker crack on. They get paid well, they're part of the family. There are, of course, seasonal workers. We get seasonal workers in every now and again. It depends. You know, and again, a lot of farms I've worked on, you have your regulars that work with you a lot of the time during the year. Then during harvest season and various different things like that, you might need additional crew. You might need people for hauling, and but you know that already. I'm just enjoying it, and you know, I think it's that. When I was talking on the end of when I was leaving Greenwich Valley, it was a bit of a kind of crisis. That's probably not the right words, but it has rekindled my, you know, it's a change of pace. It's a different way of doing it from what I've been doing recently, and I've got that challenge again, that long-term goal. You know, I've got a whole load of stuff I want to try and achieve, and it's not going to be easy because of the size of the fields, and you know, and yes, whilst the contracts do pay out incredibly well, there's a lot of work to get to that point, a lot of time. It's not, you know, it's not effort, let's be honest. It's, you know, I'm not putting a ton of effort in, but it's the time that takes the time. Yeah. You've just tuned into MrSealyp Talks Nonsense. Well, I mean, that's normally what I do, so no change there. Well, I'm going to crack on for a bit, because like I say, this is going to take a while. What I might do is, if I can get Carl or Sean on here, I might grab the International, and whiz up with the front tank and just refill with seed and bring that back down again, so then we can hook it up to this. There's no point me taking this all the way up there to get it, because this is working, but now I've got a second tractor, I can absolutely do that, so I'll probably whiz up and do that while this is working. Fantastic. Sean's on the case. Well, literally, Sean's on the case. So he is carrying on with the planting of soybean. I've grabbed the front tank. I've also grabbed the box trailer. Now this box trailer has turned out to be an incredibly universal and versatile tool. So I've just unloaded the fertiliser out of both of these, which I was using. And what I'm going to do is fill them both up. So I think I've got more. Yeah, I've got more than I need here, haven't I? So what we'll do is we'll fill that up first, and I think the box trailer will take seed as well, so I can take a whole load more back. So I should have about 6,000 litres going back. Actually, that's not full yet, so let's... Now field 10's massive. I don't doubt I'm going to need to buy some more. What should happen now is switch to that as a tool. There we go. So the box trailer's filling up as well now. Take it all back. I can put the front tank on the other case, and then we can use the box trailer to refill from when we need to. Again, I can whiz it over using the semi or this tractor. I think that will do for the time being. We'll stick at that. Get this back. Didn't do mod review yesterday. Again, I had a load of stuff on. Yeah, it's all been a little bit crazy. I'm not going to go into details. There's all sorts of craziness happening in my life at the moment with regard to family members, but some of it's personal stuff, so I'm not going to go into detail. I know normally I'm pretty open and outgoing about everything, and I talk about my kids and my wife and farm dog and all things that are going on, but some things need to stay personal. It's actually not too far back to the farm, is it? It's pretty good. So, where am I going with it? What are your thoughts? What do you think I'm going to do? What do you think I should do? Any suggestions? What do people think what do I have planned? I think what I always used to do is something I'm trying to get away from doing. Was when I run a Let's Play, especially on FS17, it's not so much now on FS19 because of the so many more things you can do anyway. But I was very much in the habit of, if I ran a story or was at a farm or at a location, I would go through, make sure I covered every aspect of farming. So I would do the episodes where I did my seeding, my planting, where I was buying new machinery, new field purchases. I would also do logging episodes. I would do wood chipping episodes. I would do episodes with greenhouses because I wanted to try and get every single element in. I think one thing I've learned is a natural growth of a farm, and depending where you are in the world where you're doing your farming as well, some things work, some things don't, and some things when you try and leave them in and think, oh, you know what, I haven't done an episode with greenhouses. Sometimes the farm you're running and what you're doing, greenhouses don't fit, they don't suit, or whatever it might be. There are so many different elements, and if there's a load of woodland and stuff to do, I always try and get a forestry episode in because I like doing forestry. But this map doesn't really kind of lend itself to that so much. There are a few bits here and there, but I'm not intending to do any forestry. I want to build this farm up, Actually, what I might do is jump in and take over. Let's just jump in a sec, because I need to run a couple of strips this way to help out. I'll be honest with you, the seed's going way further than I thought it was going to. Two strips seems to be pretty good for turning, it gives enough room. And then what I'll also do, because we did two strips at the top end, our headlands that way, that bottom end just over there, I'll stick a couple of strips in that way too. I collected all the straw swath off the field and filled up our multi-fruit extension, which gave us 75,000 litres of loose material as well as all the bales we've got. So the swath that's left on the ground, there was nowhere to put it. I mean, I could have collected it in the loading wagon and just taken it and sold it, I guess. I could have done that, but in all honesty, picking up a contract for doing fertilising or something more than covers the cost of what I would make from selling a bit of straw, so it's just weighing up what's going to be most productive and kind of best use of your time. Using a small cultivator, the cultivating contracts aren't, because the time you put in for the money you get out, although to be fair there's no outlay, you're not paying for seed, you're not paying for fertiliser, so as long as you've got your cultivator, and if you're doing other jobs and you can leave it just plugging away in the background, it actually is okay. It really doesn't matter. Right then, off we go again. So once we pass that side of the farm as well, I'll then do two strips the other way and we'll crack on. And then what I need to do is get over onto the our contract field then, and we haven't paid out too much in seed so far, and that contract is worth over 40 grand. So even if I spent 10 grand on seed, which I can't see myself doing, I'm still going to make 30 grand on the sowing contract. I'm really torn now actually as to whether or not to show how to get really cheap seed, but I know people are going to get angry, so I won't. I know people will be saying to me, go on, do it anyway. It happened recently and I incurred someone's wrath, and the whole situation was, I personally thought was a bit crazy, but yeah, again I'm not going to go into details. I don't want to rake it all up and not naming names, naming and shaming and stuff like that, but it's just, I don't know. So with all that fun and hilarity continuing, what I am going to do is whiz up to the store because I've leased a piece of machinery. I'm going to clear the trees from here so we can put our barn, building, shelter, whatever it is we're going to do for our bales. Now I could just leave them out. The weather's going to be pretty good and it shouldn't be too much of an issue. I know it's not seasonal on here, but I still want to put them under shelter. We've got plenty of space here, it's fairly flat. What I am going to do... I don't need to move that yet actually. We are running low on seed on the field, so we're going to have to whiz out. So I'm going to grab the semi. We're going to whiz up to the store again. I've leased a low loader as well. The piece of machinery I'm leasing isn't cheap. I think it was about £9.5 to lease. But at the end of the day, we need it. It's going to be quicker and easier to do it. And like I said, I know pretty much that within a couple of contracts for locals, even though it may take me a little while, I'll make the money back. It's not, you know, I suppose it's an interesting one actually. It's something, if you are doing a kind of, you are starting your farm from scratch, and it will depend massively what area you decide to farm, where you decide to set your farm up. Not specifically this map, but where in the world, what map, what place. Because the restrictions, limitations of any particular area, or bonuses, of course, it could be the other way, can be what govern how quickly you can build up your farm and how easily you build up your farm. And like I've said, on this one, it's about time. On other farms, it's about a grind. It's that kind of... because fields aren't as big, they don't pay out as much on the contracts. You find you're doing a lot more contracts to build up your money. You also find that leasing expensive bits of equipment, you really do second guess it. You stop and think, oh yeah, but if I lease that for 10 grand, I'm going to have to do 5 contracts at least to make that money back. And then it becomes that dilemma of, do I do it or not? Or can I, you know, I can find another way that's cheaper. So it will all depend very heavily on what you're running, where you're running. Now I could have just driven the machine down, I know I could have done, but that's not how it would be delivered. It wouldn't come like that. I could have had KJ Wiggum's haulage deliver it. I know there's also Willie's login has offered various different haulage and delivery options. There's a few guys out there that are running haulage companies and have offered services at different times, but KJ Wiggum's is my kind of go-to haulage company. But for this one, because we're so close to the farm, well, you know what, let's do it ourselves. So we've got Lizard T-Rex 600. Stump grinder, mulcher, tree removal. Actually, you know what I need to do, which I just suddenly realised is... not that, but that. I need to widen this out like that. This is the Flegel SDS 350J trailer, and it's brilliant because you can have it in the standard mode, or you can have it like this, open it right out and have it much wider for transporting harvesters or machinery with tracks or anything that's a little bit bigger. So let's get up on there. Whoa, that rocketed up there all of a sudden. So we'll get this down to yard. It won't take too long. And again, there's that kind of thing of, that's just cost me 10 grand and I've used it for like 5 minutes. But, and that's the thing, with any piece of machinery or equipment, and it's the same in the real world, you know. I've done so many jobs, DIY jobs. I've done jobs repairing cars, servicing my own cars, and you know, various different things you find yourself doing. Brake replacements, and I had an old Mini years ago, belonged to my wife, and we were going to redo the brakes because brakes on the old Minis were horrendous. I hated driving it. You put your foot on the brakes and you would plant it to the floor and the thing just did not want to stop. I think it was drum brakes all round and it was just awful. So when it came to changing the brakes on that, and I think there was another car I was doing as well, you had cotter pins and the cotter pins were holding the pads in. I didn't have a tool for taking out the cotter pins. And I was there for hours. I tried all different things. I was trying to hammer these out. One of my very, very good friends, Simon, popped around, just say hello, saw the car up on the ramps as he drove past and popped in. So I've got a toolbox in the car now. Simon is a policeman now, and he's done all sorts of jobs firearms, close protection. He's done all sorts. Amazing guy. Love him to bits. He worked for Rolls-Royce. He started off working for Rolls-Royce helicopter engines at Leavesden, not far from where we all lived and we grew up. I met him through Air Cadets, and we've been friends for 30 plus years. So he said, I've got my toolbox in the car, because he worked at Rolls-Royce. I'll go and grab it. Came out, and he had this thing for taking out cotter pins. It's just a really simple device. I'd been there for hours. 5 minutes, donk, 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 cotter pins out, wallop, brake pads off, new ones on, job done. And it just it's that thing of the right tool for the right job. And sometimes you might think, can't believe that cost me X amount. I've only used it for 10 minutes. But if you didn't pay X amount, you could be doing that job for 5, 6, 7 hours. And then you start thinking, actually, I wish I'd have paid the money to get a better bit of kit. It is what it is. It's just, So, what we should do now, hopefully, we'll get in. I've got Central, it's got no Central account. Well, that's weird. Why is that working? That should work. Please tell me these are not non-removable trees. There's no such thing. There we go. Oh, panicked a bit there. There we go. Stump be gone. This thing is brilliant. If you're not doing logging for the logs itself, you just want to remove some stuff that's in the way, so you can't beat it. Well, like I say, I haven't come across this before. Generally speaking, they just work, Oh, I'm going to need this out of the way. That does not want to cut. It's not even like I'm driving through it. It's not. I'm getting nothing. Well, that could be a problem. Unless if I just take this one out, I might be able to fit whatever I'm going to do in between here. Ooh. So that's what's supposed to happen. As we're saying, I have never experienced this much trouble. Ah, it's off the ground. Okay. Hope that doesn't cause me a problem when it comes to actually sort. Yeah, I'm not getting any wood chipping, I'm not getting anything. Sometimes it's just finding the right point, but that's not. Ooh. So now I'm thinking that really was a waste of time paying this. I could have just got a chainsaw, taken both those pine, fir, whatever's down, and just stuck the logs to one side, and then just ground out the stumps with a stump grinder much later. But I thought I'd need it. No, I'm getting nowhere. It's not even that I don't own the land. It's not coming up, you don't own this land. It's just not working. Does it work on the picker? It's oak, is it? There we go. Well, I'll be. What is happening? Seems to have taken out a slice. I may be here sometime. Yeah, look, the bottom section's gone. So it's cut the bottom section out, it's removed the tree stump. Whoa! What just happened there? This is just the bizarrest thing. I thought it was going to be a case of in, done, wallop, thank you very much. Right, are we there? There we go. I've checked on the cedar planter. Is that enough room? Maybe. Problem is I just suddenly realised those bales are going to be in the way of me having a building built. I'll have to move them. Okay, well, we can do that. Frustrating. And pricey. Right, better check on our planter. Pretty sure I was so busy I didn't even notice whether it came up with a thing to say. I've got a little strip here I've missed, I need to get that done. Yeah, I don't know whether it came up saying it's finished its job or it's run out. There's a couple of little bits here, I missed that bit there, I need to get that as well. Where is it? I think it might have done everything, you know. In which case we can shift it over and get on with... oh no, there's a strip left. We'll fill up anyway. So we'll swap the tank over, the front tank will go on it, and then we'll use this. Now this, generally speaking, what I have found is this rear box trailer, the seeders just fill up from it, just bang. You don't have to actually do anything, you just pull up next to it and the seed just... Well, the fertiliser did anyway, I don't have to seed room. There we go. There wasn't much left. Fill that rear tank up completely. Like so. There we go. Take that round, put that off. New and old, side by side. Well, I say old, sort of 1981, is it? The international one? It's not like it's ancient, is it? There we go, that's better. 5,100 litre capacity. Whoa. That's weird. Didn't do that once before. Right then. No. There we go. So I'm thinking, will that 5,000 litres I've got in there be enough to do field 10? Potentially. Potentially. Oh, I'm going to have to keep fiddling around with that stump grinder, the T-Rex. That's frustrating, you know. I'm really puzzled. So what I'm going to do now, finish off this strip, go and tidy up a couple of bits that I missed. I'll do the grass field later, field 8. We'll get that grassed. But the contract I've got is for soybeans, so we'll keep this on it what it is. I'll probably take the trailer back up to the store and pick up the last of the seed that I didn't quite get in. Oops. Yeah, we'll get that done. And what I'll probably do is get the whole of field 10 done, so by the end of the episode we can pick up the money for the contract off that. Actually, let's have a quick look, see if any other sowing contracts have popped up. No, it's all cultivating at the moment. I think the problem is you need to cultivate the field before the sowing contract will come up for it, so we may need to pick up some more cultivating jobs. But what I might do with those is do it as kind of like a lost leader in a way. I'll make a bit of money, but rather than use my own cultivator, use theirs, the ones that they're offering, because generally speaking they're bigger. So I might not make as much money on the actual cultivating contract itself, but that should then open up sowing contracts. So the kind of long-term benefit of doing it. Why did this work absolutely perfectly? Now I've got that front tank on it, this thing seems to be all over the place. That's weird. Yeah, so that's probably what I'll do as well. I'm just thinking, once we've got the sowing contract done, a couple of these, like field 4 and stuff and field 19, they're not... I mean, field 33, that's a big field, but it's giving you the quad track and the massive flexi coil. So it's not going to take you that long to do it. You're going to take a big old hit, nearly $4,000 for using their equipment. So I'll only get paid $6,000 for that job. Say only $6,000. I'm still going to get paid. But if that then opens up a sowing contract on field 33, that's worth a lot more. So that becomes a kind of win-win. So what I'll probably do is, once the sowing on field 10 is done, if that cultivating job on field 33 is still available, I might jump all over that. I'll get to use the quad track as well. I can kind of look forward to the future and think, when I'm older, I'm going to have one of them. I'm going to buy me a quad track. Well, I might do, I don't know. Because there, other manufacturers are available. Not just Case. I don't necessarily want to... What? See, this is odd. Oddness. I haven't had that do it once until I put that front tank on. There's only a little bit needed as well. Anyway. I might as well get it done. And there's a little spot just over there. We have got a bit of space there for a building. I was thinking of using the high barn, the big sort of shelter that I used on Helmerkra. Nice high-sided, only about $5,000 to buy, so nice and cheap. Does it fit the area? Probably not. So I want to look for something that's going to be more kind of in keeping, I guess. I'm really puzzled. That's annoying me. I'm wondering, you know, whether it's too much weight over the front axle now. Whether the dynamic has shifted. So as I'm turning, the back wheels are coming off the ground, even though I've got that entire planter on the back, which you'd think should be keeping that rear section down, planted. It's not. Right, let's fold that away. Get over to field 10 and let's get cracking over there. That's done. Right, so what I can do as well now is, next task on here is get my fertilising gear out, and we'll get this fertilised, and that'll be the second fertilising state on here, so that'll be that done, and I can leave that then. That's ready to go. Now I could have fertilised as I went along. This has a fertiliser tank, so I could have fertilised it at the same time, and I'm now thinking to myself, why didn't I fertilise while I was going along? I had the stuff to do it. It's a bit weird, isn't it? I mean, for me, not really. About par for the course, isn't it? I've just kind of got into that habit of doing my fertilising separate. I don't always, very rarely do I actually do it at the same time. I'm really just, I do prefer just whizzing around and getting it done. Oh, that was the other thing. As part of the alfalfa testing that I came across. Again, I'm a noob. I'm a noob to alfalfa. I'll be honest with you, hands up. I haven't really looked at it or touched it very much. This, unlike grass though, if you use a cultivator to clear up the area, unlike grass, which stays there, this doesn't. This is a crop. Now I've also been informed you can use a harvester to harvest alfalfa, which I haven't tried either. It's supposed to yield better than grass, but like I say, unfortunately, without the Maize Plus or the Maize Plus paraphernalia that goes with the Maize Plus extension, which we don't have available on console, I don't think it can reach its full potential without that, which is a pity, because it would be, you know, having that as an extra thing is like, wow, that's cool, but it is fairly limited. So as you can see, field 10 I cultivated with a 10 metre cultivator. That took some time. Mind you, this is only a 12 metre seeder. This is going to take some time as well. I'm just going to check this contract. It definitely says soybean, doesn't it? I don't want to do the wrong thing. So field 10 with soybeans. Yes, it does. So let's get cracking on this. And away we go. Right, I'm back over to the other field. I'm going to get fertilising. And there we are. We are done. On field 10. I have had to repair the tractor once, and the planter, seeder, sower hybrid twice has had to be repaired. What I'm going to do now is head to field 8, and I'm going to put some grass down. But before we do that, let's just jump into here. 40,939 to collect. I did also have to refill the tank. I say refill. I used the little refill trailer, so I had just under 4,000 litres. I think we had in that. So we did have to refill. I thought I'd get it all done in one go. Now what I'm going to do is grab that contract there. Borrowed items. I'm going to borrow them. So the machinery is waiting. There's a quad track and a flexi coil. Because like I say, the long term point is that I can every bit of work I do on a field improves the end result. So if I can cultivate the field and plant the field and then provide all the fertilising services on that field, when we get around to harvesting again, the yield from the field should be much higher, in which case what I get left at the end of a contract should be higher. Now I don't know if it's worked out on percentages, so potentially I'm still going to get a percentage left over, but if the yield's higher, that percentage will be higher just by dint of there's more on the field. So that's that one done. Field 33 will be done next. That'll be at the start of the next episode. I'll probably do a quick... I'll just let you know, I did a fantastic montage. I was really happy with myself of planting using this. Got over to do a bit of quick editing to see how far I'd got and how much more I needed to do, and I hadn't recorded it. I think when I hit record I must have hit the screenshot button rather than save video, so I was going to put some music and it was all going to be wonderful, and yeah, made a right old fluff of that. So anyway, not to worry, we're just going to turn down here and come onto the field this side. We're going to put grass in this. I should have enough left on this to put grass down, I think. Again, not 100% certain, but we should have. And we're getting it done. Oh, I've missed a bit. How did I miss? That's weird. Never mind. Right, let's open this back up. Switch our crop type over to grass. And then we'll get cracking. But we have come to the end of another episode. I'm again quite conscious of time and realise. But our field's done. We've got another field contract done. We've got another cultivating contract to come. I would imagine that very soon a fertilising contract will pop up for field 10 that we've just planted with soybean. So we'll carry on going through that cycle. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you are enjoying it. If you are, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, and of course, please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do, as always. Thanks for watching.